going to go little by little. So for Pascha, there's a few things to point out. We're gonna go over the hymns just like the Institute taught us to do the hymns. So the first thing that I could think of that's a change in the way that we do it in the evening Pascha, where we have the exposition conclusion, the priest says, what do we say? Say it. Ti eccerompi. Ti etas mi isinon. Hayadi, this is it. Let's try it. By the way, I'm hearing like we need to correct the tune. It's not. It's not like a boat, like on a sea. It's actually a very straight note. Let's try the beginning of it. It's one note at the beginning. And I'm, of course, I'm at fault for any of this, but I'm just telling you the way it should be said. That drag is only for the last line of each paragraph. Only for the last line of each paragraph. Let's try it. Very good. There's nothing else that needs to kind of be called out for the expositions, the Gospels. Everything is the same. Yes. Same. I know. That's the original. That's the. No, it's just the habit that we got into. But the way the Institute has always taught it is, and to be fair, Malam Ibrahim has always said it that way. Like, I've always heard it from him that way, I just didn't know why. And even if you listen to the music, like, what do we say? Actually, the music actually sticks to that. Even in the funeral, like we say, it still keeps that music. So we're actually wrong. Like, it's more consistent to keep the music like that than to cut it short the other way. But yeah, I've always said it that way since I was a baby. All right. Thoktetigom is the same. We're not going to do, and some people ask about the Kireleison, and I know actually Abuna started that a long time ago. But it's actually right. Like the old way doesn't have Kireleison every time. It's just the beginning. And Shobra is like the hub of of the traditional institute, like music and Coptic hymns, because they keep it in Shobra. It's like almost exactly like the institute all the time, because the institute is in Shobra. So they never say in any of the churches in Shobra, they never say Kireleison before each one. If you go to Alexandria, you go to other parts, they say Kireleison before each one. It's not right or wrong either way, but just letting you know that like the way that we learned it in the Institute is exactly the way Abuna had us do it from a long time ago, which is the beginning, which sets the pitch and the beat, and then it just continues. So that's actually more accurate than the Kireleison every single time. The Kyrie eleison is really meant to start the pitch and the beat. Kyrie eleison, that's a lot different than Kyrie eleison. Kyrie eleison. You know, you use it as an opportunity to raise the pitch or lower the pitch and keep the beat. So, yes?
I remember I asked you last year about Mu'allim.
No, you can't listen to Azbekiyya.
No, I'm asking, like, why?
I don't know what they do, but it's Ma'allim Fahim, so they stick to everything with Ma'allim Fahim, so it's completely different. Everything they do is completely different, like 100%. Okay, so moving along, Monday, so obviously Monday, there's nothing. Tuesday night, we start Pasotir and Agathos. Actually, we start it in the 11th hour of Tuesday morning. When we say Pekathronos, that's when we add Pasotir and Agathos. And Tagom is added only on Thursday night. Not Thursday morning, 11th hour, or anything like that. Just Thursday night only. From the first hour, we start saying Tagom Nimpa Isma. Everything else is exactly the same. There's no differences whatsoever in any of the hymns. The Kanun is the same. Everything is the same. So, moving along, fast forward to Covenant Thursday. As I mentioned at the beginning, the stress for today will be on the resurrection. So that's where we're going to spend the majority of time reviewing the resurrection hymns. Next year, maybe we could do some other occasion. If someone wants to remind me, maybe next year we'll do like Bright Saturday or something, huh? Last year it was at my house. We only had a smaller group, but we did a big heavy focus on Good Friday. Yes? Okay. So Covenant Thursday, we start with the first hour of Pascha, which starts before Matin. So Thursday morning, if anybody takes it off from work, the beautiful hymns that we say for Covenant Thursday, a lot of them, are said in that first hour, and it's the literal first hour that I'm referring to. So the first hour of Pascha is very long. The first hour of Pascha actually takes like hours, a couple hours. But within the first hour, we have the procession of Judas, we have Avicii, we have all of these beautiful hymns that are said, and customs that are done with, if we start at 8, it's going to be at like 8:20. That's where you start, 8:15. So if you come at like 9 o'clock thinking you've made it for the majority of the service, yes, you have, but you missed like a lot of the stuff that's very unique to Covenant Thursday is very early, and it's right when Covenant Thursday starts. That's why a lot of people come early for Covenant Thursday, and they want to attend, those services. So the way it starts is the prophecies, and I should mention the tradition for the big feasts like Good Friday and Covenant Thursday is the eldest priest reads the first reading, the second reading, the third, so on and so forth, archdeacon, the next, all the way until the clergy are done reading, and then everybody else can read. So on Good Friday, technically, it's appropriate etiquette to make sure that the eldest priest reads the first reading, the second reading, any archdeacons or third priest or whatever, in the order, just like in the Revelation where we're used to reading the first chapter, the second chapter, the third chapter, and then the same thing with the ending as well. So usually the Gospels of the 12th hour are passed out to the priest as well. So they start it and they conclude it. But the first hour of Pascha starts, and there's a homily that's said. After the homily, after the homily, we open up the altar curtain and we start matins as normal. So you notice what's usually after the homily in any hour of Pascha, like in the mornings. After we say the homily, what does everyone say right away? Shois Nainan. And then we stand up and say Tukta Tigom. And then after Tukta Tigom, what do we do? It's a psalm. So we hold off on Tukta Tigom in the psalm. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. We say Tukta Tigom, we open the altar curtain, the psalm is reserved later because it's Avicii Nun. Sorry, I forgot. We say Tukta Tigom in that moment, we open the altar curtain, we start matins as usual. In this matins, we have a couple of different traditions. One is, we do the verse of the symbols and everything the same, the prayer of the sick, the doxologies, and then we go to Fayetaf Enf after Fnoti Nainan, and then we have the hymn of Praxionton. Praxionton is the only time in the year where we read the Acts reading about Judas, because there's an entire chapter in the book of Acts about Judas, and we don't read it anytime throughout the year because we don't want him to have any place in the liturgy at all. The church fathers, it's written in Tartib al-Bayat, the church fathers removed the Acts reading from the liturgy into Matins to keep it away from the Eucharist as much as possible. So that's why we do the Acts in Matins, when it's usually during the liturgy. But this time, for this reason, we do the Acts during Matins. So we have Praxionton, which is the hymn of the Acts, and it's very musical and it's very long. It's about 40 minutes if you say the whole thing in the full tune. It doesn't have to be 40 minutes. You could cut parts of it short and make it 30 minutes or 25 minutes. But it's customary to do that. And it's all about Judas. Then we read it, and then we have the procession or the circumambulation of Judas, which we do going the opposite direction that we usually do processions, because everything tied to Judas is upside down, it's backwards, it's not right. He broke everything that was supposed to be right and good. So instead of going this way, we go this way. And the old tradition was they used to flip over benches and flip over a chair and like all these things, because it used to symbolize breaking of the law or overthrowing the law. Like overthrowing a throne, like you've basically conquered, the law. We don't do that anymore, but there's other traditions like playing the cymbals or hitting the cymbals, inside out. Like there's things that are visually symbolic to kind of reiterating this point. We go around the church, and it's supposed to be 3 times, but usually we just go until we finish the hymn. And then we have Agios. In the version, it's called Lahn al-Salib. So Agios is not supposed to be It's actually referred to as Lahn al-Salib, which is J-A-G-E-O-S, O-The-Os. In the actual rite, this isn't a short version of it. I mean, sometimes we use it as a short version, like during funerals and stuff like that. But actually, for Covenant Thursday, that's the way it's supposed to be said. And the first paragraph, this is where we're going to review. O ek partheno genetis eleison on. And then the second 2 paragraphs are Stavrotis. We obviously don't mention the resurrection. So we'll practice the first paragraph together with O ek partheno. Je ageos ageos eshe rosa ageos anatos O ek partheno genetis eleison. Very good. So we do that, then we have the litany of the gospel, and then we have Avicino, which is the same tune as Pekatronos, huh?
So is that paragraph followed by 2
Stavrotis, yeah. And it's only for Covenant Thursday. So on Good Friday, Bright Saturday, we say Stavrotis 3 times. Actually, no. I think Bright Saturday is also O ek partheno in the liturgy. It's in the liturgy. Anytime there's the Eucharist, we say he was born. That's the correlation. Not because there's significance. There might be a significance. I'm just telling you like a key point to just remember. Then we have Avichinon. Then I don't know whether we close the curtain or not. I have no idea. Close it. Okay. So then we close the curtain after Matins, and then we go and take our seats.
Oh, you're talking about the distribution of the...
No.
Yeah, close and then
Do Pascha.
Pascha, no.
Okay. So we close the curtain and we do Pascha all the way until through the 9th hour. And then we have the La'an, and then we have the liturgy. And then during communion we have the 11th hour. And then we usually end. Anyone have any questions about any of that? Yes? No. You don't dress for Mass. Huh? You say it every year. I don't say it, but Stephen says it. But yeah, we can say it. The reason so this is a Greek hymn that people started saying. The only reason I don't like the hymn, but the reason I like saying it is because there's no Catholic epistle or Acts reading, because we said the Acts and Matins and there's no Catholic epistle. So when Abuna's going around for the Pauline, it's taking. We finish the Pauline and then we go straight to Agios. So it doesn't give Abuna enough time. So we have something to say before the Pauline epistle. So it gives us something to say, a little bit more buffer. So it's not completely silent, or that we don't have to say Agios like super slow. Anybody have any other questions? Okay. Great Friday. As I mentioned, the readings, we start from the beginning. Please just come from the very beginning of the service. Everything is the same. I want to just review a couple of hymns.
Thursday night, before you leave, we need to set up the church for Friday.
Oh, that would be great if we can get help too, because we're always looking for people to help move the stuff for Great Friday.
The more people we have, it takes like 5 minutes.
And if we want, if we want, I know they like decorating it, but if we want to move the salavot for Thursday night, for Pesach, most churches do that, like in Egypt. They have the salavot out because it's part of the beginning of the Great Friday service. So they have it usually Thursday night, and then going to the next. But it's up to you. So maybe if anyone wants to do that, we can move it before that service, and they could just leave it here. For Great Friday, Okati Shisis. Remember, there's a difference between, I said this to the group last year, there's a difference between that hymn and Tia Epistoli. So, Okati Shisis, Okati Move fast forward. Ente benio te that staircase down is a different tune. You guys know what I'm talking about? Whereas in Tia Epistoli, where we emulate that, we don't say that. We say and actually, in Tia Epistoli it's only twice, and Ukati Shisis it's 3 times. So there's a difference. Ente beniot mabad etho correct Abba Athanasius. There's a difference between Abba Athanasius, the way everybody used to do it, and the way they corrected it in the Institute. We used to say, Abba Atha. Now, the correct way, Athanasio. Let's try it. Athanasio. Oh. Everything else is the same. All the other saints are the same. Athanasi. Just like we say, you and it. Shenoti. So it keeps it consistent. So Ukatishi is a slight difference with that hymn. Do we have, which, is this Coptic reader or the other one? Okay. Can someone get me there's a pamphlet right there that says Omonogenes on it. Can you get it? Or just, like, there's a stack of papers right there. Just says Good Friday. Can you grab me one? Oh, perfect. He beat you to it. So tell me if, this is not the same translation. Because this was based on a different book. So I wanted to practice Omonogenes in English because it's extremely rich in its translation. And from now on, we'll say, Man Ibrahim, I got it. I'm looking at it. Sorry. I have it, same thing. Man Ibrahim told us to say both Tishoris together, but nobody's going to do that because it's ridiculous. The long one and the short one, but I think we've just pretty much adopted the long one from now on. So if you don't know it, please learn it. The long Tishori.
I think George wanted you to display Coptic reader to make sure it's matching.
I don't think it is it? Can you check? If it's not, then you could do that. But if it is, I'm on a text trail all about Omonogenes, and they can't come to terms on the translation, so they don't really care what it is. So Abuna Arsenius' translation is pretty ridiculous for like music. So they're trying to figure out something that's in between. We did the same exercise. We had like 3 or 4 calls with Ma'alim Joe and like Hani Tekla and all these people for Thukteti Gom because they wanted to standardize Thukteti Gom in the diocese before Holy Week, and we couldn't. We actually settled on a translation. Everybody settled on the translation. I'm not part of the translation. I'm just commenting on like music. And they gave it to Ambakros, and he said he didn't like it. So he said, I'm not going to do it, so we won't do it. But the translation wasn't deviating too far from what we have. So is it different? Okay. So this is the translation from the St. Mary's book, before we had the screens and stuff. So this is what I based it off of. So I'm going to say parts and you can repeat it. O only begotten Son, and once again I'm not teaching it, this is just review. So if you want the recording, I can record it, but I do think there's a recording floating around in our groups, like deacon groups. The eternal and immortal Word of God, who for our salvation did will to be incarnate of the Holy Theotokos and ever Virgin in Mary, ever Virgin Mary. I forgot the word "and" again. We'll correct it the second time. Try to say it with me. 1, 2, 3. Oh, only begotten Son, eternal and did will to who be incarnate of the Holy Theotokos and ever Virgin Mary. Yeah, I don't know if we ever said the "and" twice. We didn't, right? Okay. So we don't say it the second time. And Mabad. And ever Virgin. Mary. Ever Virgin Mary. Listen. Who without change became man and was crucified, Christ God trampled down death by death, one of the Holy Trinity, who is glorified with the Father and the Holy Spirit. It save us. Let's try it together. Who without change became man and was crucified, Christ God trampled down death by death, one of the Holy Trinity, who is glorified with the Father and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's go. I put chairs here for you. Nobody showed up. So I put this together. I put the English right next to the Greek, and I try to create line by line with the exception of one part, which I copied the Arabic because it sounded a little bit better because it was too stiff in the first paragraph because we didn't have enough syllables to play with. The only part that's not matching the Greek exactly is who for our salvation. That I pulled from the Arabic first paragraph. The rest of it is exactly like the Greek. So the last section. My car key? I don't have a car key. I can unlock the car.
Stuff in the back?
Oh, it's in the front seat.
In the front seat?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, oops.
5-minute break.
That's why I don't like streaming or recording anything.
We're still live.
Yeah. All right. Tough crowd. All right. Holy God, who being God, for our sake became man without change, holy, mighty, who by no. Who by weakness shall forth. What is greater than power? Holy, immortal, who was crucified for our sake and endured death in his flesh. I don't remember this part. I don't remember this part. Let's practice the two before it. Maybe it'll come to me. 1, 2, 3. Holy. Holy God, who being God, holy God, who being God, for our sake became man without shame. Holy, mighty, who by weakness shall what is greater than power? Smile. Holy, immortal, who was crucified for alright, who was crucified for our sake. Oton de Stavro and endured. I don't remember it, I'm sorry. So I'll come back to it or just check the recording from last year. You remember? Anybody remember it from last year? How we did it? Okay, but it goes against the notes that we have right here, so. The notes are pretty consistent. All right, anyway, just check the recording. Just check the recording before the Great Friday. For who was crucified واللي بعديها بقى that does match the notes. Let's do it. Who was crucified for our sake and endured death in his flesh, the eternal and immortal, O Holy Trinity, have mercy. Let's try that last paragraph again. Holy, immortal, who was crucified for our sake and endured death in his flesh, the eternal and immortal, O Holy Trinity, have mercy Oh, yeah, you might be right. Yeah, it doesn't say to stay on the U. And endure death. That's probably right. It's Greek? Well, I mean, we don't have as many syllables, but we try to keep it as close as possible. Oton deia stavro thanaton I bomines sarki ke de exasos ke enta. Yeah. It has that. I'm sure it does. طيب. Going to Amant al-Lis, or the confession of the right thief. The only difference here is Malam Ibrahim told us to do J. Ageos after Ari Pamevi. You don't ask me why. So we start off with Ari Pamevi. We used to say J. Ageos. Or now he says, it's actually written in that way in the book too. The Ageos is after Ari Pamevi, then Emnis Thiti. And then the rest goes quicker. Let's go to the litanies. Let's review the litany for the 6th hour, the response. Where is it? Is it in this packet? Maybe you left it out, I don't know. Oh yeah, here it is. 6th hour litanies. So you notice the difference for T epistole, right? Just like that, not like from Ukati. There's a difference there. Ofiet chen pi eho emmaso chenef naven agbeso afti efti nakechon ebes tavro os edvef novi etaf ertolman erof Ence Adam Chempi Paradisos Fochem Bi Eschen Jigen Tenen Novi Oba Christos Ben Noti O Nahme En Mabad Ofi Et Chen Pi Chenef naven agbeso afti efti nak echon ebes elve ef novi etaf ertolman erof ence adam Fochem bi eschen gigent بخريستوس بنوتي. Very good. There's another thing too that I wanted to correct in the pronunciation, where we say where's Adveti Anastasis, which we also say during the funeral. Man, I forgot what it was. Or maybe, oh yeah. خنفناتي ام بخريستو مش خنفناتي ام بي اخ خنفناتي ام بخريستو. Can we try that real quick? خنفناتي ام بخريستو. The same, everything else is the same. خنفناتي ام بخريستو. Okay, let's go to the litany of the ninth hour. The ninth hour. وفي اتاف جمتي بي امف مخنت صاركس امف ناب. Actually he says معلمي. He says it fast, right? معلم says it fast or short? امف نابن, or does he say امف نابن اجبه? Actually I think it's fast. امف نابن اجببس. Yeah, I think it's fast. Unless you have an objection. وفي اتاف جمتي بي امف مخنت صاركس امف نابن اجبب سيتي اد فيتن خوتب انن لوغزموس ان صوماتيكون او بخريستوس بنوتي او نامن. مع بعض. او في اتاف. Well, let's start it together because that's part of the piece that's important. 1, 2, 3. او في اتاف امف نابن او بخريستوس. Good. After that, after the sixth hour, we say Om Organis. After this, we just conclude with Agios.
I don't think it's bad. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Emef Naven Bepsit. Okay, let's try it that one. O fi etav jemti pi emef mochenet sarex emef naven agbeb siti ed. Let's start again from the beginning. O fi etav jemti pi emef mochenet emef naven agbeb siti vite. حلو خالص. For Golgotha, nothing has changed, just the same thing. The St. Mary's book that we always use has a mistake in it, where after we say Duksa Patri Karim Kiai, then we say Duksa Patri and Karim Kiai Ma'bad. In the book that everybody uses, it only says Duksa Patri only. There's another thing here, which I was going to tell Abuna, or talk to Abuna about as well. We don't conclude the prayers. And Sayyidina actually made a point about this too. We don't conclude the prayers, we say, Sotiam mono nainan, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie evlogison, amin, smoero estime, tania coni evlgon bi esmo, abunas esper Christos benoti, amin es shopi. It concludes. There's no absolution at all. Because we don't end the prayers, it's actually supposed to continue into Bright Saturday. So we'll talk about it more with later, but just keep in mind that it's a little bit different than usual. Same thing, Sayyidina also wants us to read the first 3 Psalms out loud. So once again, it goes in order of hierarchy. So it would be the head priest, then the second priest, and then the archdeacon, which we'll have from tomorrow, inshallah. So the Psalms are also read out loud before, and they kick off the Psalms. So Sayyidina made a point about that last year, Abraham, about that. So we usually pass out the Psalms, everybody's done before we even start reading the Psalms, and the deacons don't even get a chance to read it. So we have to let the priest start the Psalms, and then it goes into the rest of the congregation. After Sotiam 101. Anybody have any questions about that? They don't teach it in the institute. We could say it. I like it, and I learned it, but it just makes things longer. I mean, it's like 20 minutes, like 15 minutes. Okay, everything else is the same. All right. Now we're going to Bright Saturday. This year, what we're going to do is we'll say all of the, and I'm going to send you the recording, Bola, put that in the notes. I'm going to send the recording for all of Anok Pepi Koji, all of the Coptic. We'll do all of the Coptic first, and then we'll do the English after that. After all of the Coptic. We usually just say 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs. We'll do all of the Coptic, and then we'll go back to the English and say it. And just remember, right after that, for Psalm 151, once again, please try to be on time. Every year I get text messages of people asking to wait because they're running late. Because it's the very first hymn. But please remember also that we have the procession around the church right after it. So we have to have the crosses and everything ready, and the book of Psalms is covered with the priest holding it. And we go around the church 3 times with Maran right after it's done. So there's no break. Usually, sometimes we finish it, and then we realize that everybody's saying the hymn, and then we're scrambling to get people on the altar to start the procession. Let's try to remember that we're doing that. And just keep the candles with us like we do every year. There's nothing different about Bright Saturday that we're going to do. The only difference is, as I did it last year, the verse of the symbols is not the morning doxology tune, it's the verses of the symbols tune, even though it's the morning doxology's word. So it's weird. Don't ask me why. It sounds weird. But we say the morning doxology words with the tune of Arban Na'us. So instead of saying, Ten osh temeviot nemepshi krieleison, ten osh temeviot ot nemepshi. We do the morning doxology in that tune. That's the way it is for Bright Saturday. After that, we have all of the hymns. Everything is the same. Bright Saturday is pretty easy. We'll do Panoti for a bit, and then we'll do the expositions. Actually, there's a gospel that's supposed to be said, and then Panoti, and then, or after Panoti, and then the expositions for the resurrection, so we say them before the Feast of the Resurrection. There is a couple of hymns that we usually don't say that we'll try to say, just because of time, but I'll try to send you the recordings for that if you could take note of that, Bola, as well. I'll send like a couple of things just for Bright Saturday. Anybody have any questions for Bright Saturday? There isn't really much there. It's mostly Tazbah hymns. There's a liturgy. Oh, in the liturgy, it's the only thing that we don't say in the liturgy is Tarhim. So we say the deacon response. Well, we don't have to say the deacon response, but the litanies, the commemoration of the saints, all that is included. It's not skipped like Covenant Thursday. It's not the same exact thing as Covenant Thursday. We used to do it exactly the way it was. It wasn't. Also, the offering of the lamb is also with the Kyrie eleisons as well. Whereas in the Covenant Thursday, we don't have the Kyrie eleisons. So it's a little bit, it's similar, but it's not similar. We don't have the prayer of reconciliation, which shows that even through Bright Saturday and after after the Great Friday in the church, we don't greet each other after Great Friday until after Bright Saturday. And this is an indication of this tradition, which is just in the primarily just in the church. So people always think it's supposed to be outside of the church. You go to work or something, you can't say hi to somebody. But in the church tradition, inside the church, we don't greet until the after Bright Saturday. And the proof is in the pudding, because the prayer of reconciliation is still not there for Bright Saturday. So we don't say it in Bright Saturday, and we don't greet each other. And the reason we don't say it is because we don't greet each other. Because it still continues until after Bright Saturday. So that's the only thing. And we pray both some of the litanies for Vespers and Matins. Even though it's just an elongated Matins, we pray for the repose. We also pray for the sick as well when we get into Matins. Yes. Yeah, it's Era Piesmo for St. John, because we're reading the book of St. John. Remember what Babuna Arsenius probably told you about Apinav? So the custom was to read the books of the saints. So this is a part that we do say, because we're about to read the book that was written by St. John. So it makes perfect sense to say that there. His objection is to Apinav. Thank you for that reminder. Well, I mean, it's Babuna Arsenius always comments on it. But it is what it is. Anything else? You got to keep reminding me, by the way. Huh?
After Thanksgiving prayer?
After the Thanksgiving prayer, we don't say sotis either. No.
Without any laugh.
Yeah, there's nothing for Covenant Thursday. The salvation is not until the resurrection. So we say it during the feast liturgy, but not for Covenant Thursday or
Bright Saturday.
not Bright Saturday either. I know that. I know some people say it, but we don't say it. I read, I think it's this book actually. I think that's where we got it. Like somebody put that in a book that says we say it. But I can, unless Ma'allim Mina knows. Ma'allim Mina, why don't you come sit? Ma'allim Mina is blessing us today, so he's just lazy. Do you know if they taught us to do sotis or not for Bright Saturday? You don't remember? All right, I didn't think so either. I'll find out. I know. Anybody have any other questions before we conclude Bright Saturday? And then spend the rest of the time on the resurrection for 40 minutes. Okay. Today's focus will be on the resurrection. There's a couple of things I want to fix, including the doxology. So go to, if you have this book, or you could just put it on the screen, go to, let's start with the verses of the symbols. When Ma'allim Ibrahim was here, he got upset at us because of the tradition of bringing the hamal in from after. And I started looking at it, and it seems like everybody does it at the right, we can talk to Abuna about it, and also Sayyidina, because almost all the churches do the same thing. They bring in the hamal after matins, but what the Ma'allim was telling us was, and it makes perfect sense, because if Uru is the seventh tune, if you count Sabah Tarayt, the 7 tunes, the 7th tune is Uru. And so what he's saying is you're supposed to bring in the hamal during Uru, like right before the litany of the oblations. That's the proper time to come in to the liturgy, not after matins and come in. It's supposed to just start with with the offering of the lamb right after matins. So, and that's the way he says they do in the cathedral too. So the Pope does that. So he comes in during the oblations into the church. So we'll have to ask.
Makes sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the seventh tune is at Puro. And I don't think they would put it in the right to say Puro twice, right after each other. So we'll have, I think we should ask Sayyidina because the vast majority of the churches, not just in California, but I don't know what you guys did in New Jersey. Did they all do that too?
Only one time they had a priest who came from Egypt.
No, does everybody do it after matins?
Yes.
So they do the same thing?
No, but there was one time a priest came serving in our church and insisted to do the procession at the litany obligation.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It was actually one of the Pope's secretaries.
That makes perfect sense. So, oh yeah, I know who you're talking. What, Angelos?
No.
Oh.
And you expect to do the obligation in
Right after, yeah. Okay, let's go through the verses. We're going to finish at 9:30. So, in case anybody's stressed out about like how long this is going to be, we're going to finish at 9:30. So don't worry. So the Apa Christos, listen to it. Apa Christos. The first thing is we don't say Api Christos. We say Apa Christos. Osbeno. I can't even do it anymore. The Ma'alim during our tests focused so much on this part that like we could have failed this hymn over this like little part right here. And it makes me nervous till now. Because it just goes up. And we did it in the class yesterday, right, Joseph? Wherever Joseph is. Joseph Girgis. Did he leave? Probably left. He's sleeping. That's different tarkib, right? Than the way we're used to. So let's try that. Apa Christos Osben Tawo on fe'evo. Again from the beginning. 1, 2, 3. Tawo on fe'evo ol cheni ethmod entof beta aparshi enteni go entof beta aparshi enteni eta. Repeat. Entof beta aparshi enteni eta. The rest is the same the way we say it. We will say the one for Archangel Michael too, but we'll say them fast. Pineshtin arshian, geros bekriman ogainti, bekriman ogainti anastasis, Isus bechristos insa, afnem fo. This is the part. Entof benim shah, erechen ohebostasis, chen ohebostasis, en ooteno oshtemov. Let's try that. Isus bechristos insa. Ohebostasis, you stop during the one part that we actually did this whole thing for. Chen ohebostasis, mabad. Isos let's start it that way. Isos bechristos insa. خن ويابستاسيس. Very good. Now the doxology, turn to the doxology. This is the one that a couple of paragraphs we need to correct here. أفكر في مفموخن تفقم أبثري أبو أنخ إرو أيني إرون أنتف أن في إتاف شنف أني ما إتصابسيت أمب كاهي أبثري أبو أنخ. That 1, 2, 3 أفكر في مفموخن تفقم أبثري أبو أنخ إرو أين إيرون. Very good. أفكاشنها مخلصم ذنبي. That's the next one that needs to be changed. أفخم كمنهن بلي إنهم أفكاشنهن مخلصم ذنبي. Let's try it. أفخم, actually this one is higher. أفخم خمنهن بلي إنهم أفكاشنهن مخلصم أفئن النفس بأبولخن. The rest is the same. We don't have Archangel Michael in here, but we'll say it. Sait Anastasis and Pechristos. I'll send the recording for it. Put it in the notes. Tayyip. So matins, we finished matins. Let's go. Oh, let's do the gospel response for matins. Ek oabeb shoiso. Ek oabeb shoiso wo ekes marot. Akichi emka owohem pegom. Akton kevol khenni ethmoon. Khenpi eho emma shot mabad. Ek oabeb Now let's try it again. Ek oabeb shoiso wo ekes marot mabad. Ek oabeb shoiso wo ekes marot. Akichi emka owo empegon aton kevol. Hello khalis. Then we have the conclusion, and then we have the liturgy. Taishor, the He-10s. Let's try the He-10 for that we need to correct. The one He-10 verse for the resurrection outside of Archangel Michael. Well, let's try both actually. The one for Archangel Michael first. He-10 yeberesmal veyente bisal besti senti anas tasi esmicha ilabar khonnani fi owi. Let's try it. He-10 yeberes veyente bisal besti senti anas tasi esmicha ilabar khonnani fi owi. This one's different. We started correcting it in the past couple of years, but I just want to make sure everybody says it. Hitani ev shi enteni ethmi niromi ente leos Yusuf nemni kodimos nem ti agi Marieti Magdalini ev shois mabad. Hiten أنتني أثمي يوسف نمني قديموس نمتي حلو. Praxis response, another correction. شرتف أنا is etafto on fevo on kheni etmo oud. So originally our church was saying it like a chorus, which is eta. We don't do that anymore. Let's try it. Sheretef is etafto on fevo ol kheni the rest is the same. This year we'll say Qat al-Hijab again before Oniyam night, and we will did Bishoy and Gregory attend all the sessions or not? I don't remember. No? Not the last one? If you guys can catch up, that would be great, so we have a few people that can say it. With the Ma'alim, with Joe, he'll be here. Mina's leaving. He's going back home. So this year we'll do 3 paragraphs of Yakul al-Sufuf instead of 2. And keep in mind, the reason we keep saying this in Arabic is it was written in Arabic. And it sounds best in Arabic, so we just maintained it in Arabic, at least for the feast. So this is a traditional, this was Malam Joe that created the Coptic, and it's whatever. But there's no Coptic that exists for it. It was just recently made up. So it's Arabic hymn, and it existed only in the Arabic. So let's see here. So we'll do the readings long, and we'll get volunteers for that. Bola, if you could put it in the notes. We need to pick people that are going to do the readings, the Pauline, the Catholic, and the Acts. Then we'll do Qat al-Hijab. And then the Tamsiliyah, everybody's welcome to participate in the responses as a group. When you start realizing that some of this stuff was just added as kind of, showy stuff recently, it makes, it doesn't need to be just the deacons, it could be the whole congregation, let me just put it that way. So, we do what we do. We'll have the Ma'alims, we'll start one, and then the chorus and the congregation say the rest, and same thing. And then I got a lot of, I never get complaints, but last year I got a lot of complaints about the English. I've never had so many complaints ever about anything. So we'll see if we just stick to the Arabic, at least in the feast, because a lot of people really didn't like the variation in English. Yeah, I know. So we'll if anything, a lot of priests in Egypt, they just split it up. So, but in any case, we can respond in Arabic at the very end. Yeah. Okay. Anything up until now that we need to go over? But we're not at the Tamsiliyah yet. But before the Tamsiliyah, anything that we have to go over that anybody has any questions about? The hymns are pretty straightforward. Everything is pretty straightforward. Okay. We used to pile all the deacons on the altar because most churches, once again, with reasonable size, they have the room. We don't have the room. So if the kids want to go on the altar, they could come out of the main door. They can. If not, it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal either way. It doesn't matter. So whether they stand here or not, doesn't matter. Yeah, we do have one. We usually do have one. It's someone different every year, but usually I make a point. I think last year was George Mina. Okay, for the Tamsiliyah, it's just like the Amins during the liturgy. How do we start the Amins during liturgy? When Abuna says, when he says those parts, we say So the same thing goes The second one is like Then the third one, I'm sorry, it's Amin. Amin. So it follows that pattern. And the Christ is risen, Christos anesti. Yes. That we always do, even when we do the Arabic, we do the first three in Greek, the second, then we repeat it in English, and then we usually say the last parts in Arabic. Because those are the ones that, like the translations are kind of, there's not enough syllables and it's just kind of winky. It's not like, it doesn't sound very good, like musically. I just threw in the towel last year. We'll just start saying Tin Anastasia. So I'm going to say it once and then, I don't expect you to repeat it because I never taught it to you. But try to practice it so we can say, we always say, all of the other hymns. We'll say all of the hymns for this feast. After the feast in the Khamasin, we'll switch off different hymns. So one week we'll say Tolitho, we'll say Tonsina. We'll say, just so we don't take too long, during like the 50 days, we'll just say, we'll pick one and we'll do a different one every week. But on the feast we'll say all of them, including Tin Anastasin. So I'm going to say it real quick, and if you want to record it, you can record it. It has history, but it was just introduced recently because someone let the Ma'alim listen to it and then he started recording it. Once Ma'alim Ged started saying it, I said we would start saying it. Tin Anastasin Socherin Did I mess up? So if you can learn that, we'll say it during the procession of the feast, and then we'll alternate that into the 50 days. Just so you know, the Jek Oweb Oek Oweb was made up by Malam Ibrahim. So everybody says it now, the whole world says it, but there's no marga for this whatsoever. Even Malam Ged till now says Je'u A'u, just like we was doing the nativity and everything else. But Malam Ibrahim put this here, and a lot of people now say it, and it's kind of spread like wildfire, so it is what it is. Nothing changed with the past choice. Let's practice the Sangari real quick. Fi, be, be, let's start from the beginning. So, Fi, be, be, ho, mabad. Fi, be, be, ho, eta, choice, choisek enahmet, oeb choisek esoten. فنوت بشويصف ارقو عيني فنوتي على طول. فنوت بشويص مش افنوتي. فنوت بشويصف ارقو عيني ايرون مع بعض. فنوت بشويصف ارقو عيني ايرون. حلو. The gospel response, Lipon avkar mavakhen pi kata ni esmi emebrofi khen bima Very good. Spasmos vatos, which we usually say. Lipon alka avchen bi. Actually, you probably remember. So let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Lipo on alka avchen emha بخريستو ساني استي اكنك رو لا يا معلمي ايوه دي. But this is why you always have a backup معلم, just in case you it doesn't want to sit up here. بخريستو ساني استي Very good. The next part. Isos b'Christos ep ente ep afto on favor مع بعض الخني There's also a correction with the agios here, because we took it from the chorus. The chorus does this. Agios, agios. Whereas like all the ma'alamin, they do agio, they cut that note off. So we started doing it like the ma'alamin. Agios, agios, and the English follows the Coptic exactly. The Arabic doesn't. The Arabic goes high and goes off into a completely different madiha, like during the whole thing. It's like its own hymn. From the bidayah, from the beginning, it's like it goes into a completely different thing. طيب قاطني خورس. There's no changes in Psalm 150. Please practice Psalm 150. Like, it's so ridiculous when we have deacons that learn all of these long hymns and they can't even like put the right tarkib on like Psalm 150. It's so easy. Just listen to it once or twice and you'll know it. So like the tarkib is easy for both annual too, like the regular one too. Type Qatani Khurs has we corrected it years ago, but I just want to make sure it's corrected. Let's see. Huh? The long one? I'm not going to review it here, but we can review it like before the feast in smaller group. For the Mahad, me and the Ma'alim had to learn all of this whole thing. It was insane. Maybe you didn't, but I had to learn the whole thing. We had to learn the whole thing, the whole hymn. All right. Ereb salin qen orthe li je ben choice isos bech restos mihe I bemi خمسة بمي بن Jesus Bechristos Behei Ibemi a Okay. We can, if we have a smaller session with a long introduction, we can also learn Eti Sotem as well and add that. That's very easy, it's the same tune over again. And that's it for the resurrection. Anything else that we left off or that you wanted to review? There's another doxology for the resurrection that we've been saying as well. So we could say a different one. There's Fi'etav Shanshem Pisrael, which is the same doxology for Bright Saturday. It's said in the festal tune, can also be said for the resurrection. Fi'etav Shanshem Pisrael Enehme'en Rombihi Ebshafe Av E-M-P Mannano E-O-Omf Epi Oikenteni Ange. I could send you the recording for this too, but I said it every other week last year in the Khamsin. So we can learn this one, and then as well as Archangel Michael's, which we'll always say up Archangel Michael from now on. So we won't separate it from the resurrection ever. So anytime in Ashay or Matins or anything, we say Toteron, we say Sa'at Anastasis. So please take time to learn it. Sa'at Anastasis is like 4 or 5 paragraphs. It's very easy. So take the time to learn it. Any other questions about any other hymns? We have 5 minutes. The Greek hymns, Tonsina and Tolito, just listen to it closely because the pronunciation for some of the words is off from the more proper Greek pronunciation. So just try to listen to it a little bit closer. Anybody else have any other questions before we call it an Amin Alleluia Duxavatri? Huh? The what? We can. We just have to. We can say anything that we teach. So if we could syndicate recordings and people can commit to learning it, as long as people can commit to learning, I'll send recordings and we could do it as a group. We just need 4 or 5 people to lead the course. So 4 or 5 people know it, then it's easy. I remember we used to get yelled at when we were younger. Nobody knew that except me and Ma'alim Joe in like the early 90s. Abuna is my witness. Because we used to say, one time I said at the priest meeting, I remember, I'll never forget this. Nobody ever heard it. And then a bunch of priests complained to Abuna. And then as soon as Ma'alim Ibrahim says something, oh, now it's like kosher. Everybody can say it. So me and Ma'alim Joe used to say the long extended Hiten and the long Agios before anybody ever said it. Because we learned it from Ma'alim Fahim. Because we only had the Ma'alim Fahim tapes. And we discovered it, and so we started saying it. And then everybody was like, oh, why does it have to be extra long? And then all it took was Ma'alim Ibrahim recording it, and that's it. Oh. It should be, can we put it on the air, like, it should be a red light. Stop talking. Now Nehemiah and all of them, they know why they're not allowed to send my recordings from the class on SoundCloud. Someone did it once, and I got so upset. Someone put the recording from class on SoundCloud. I don't know who it was. Okay. Anything else, Abuna? Okay. Okay. Abuna will lead us in prayer. Amin Alleluia Duxavat Rike Yoke Mati Kanin Kai Kes Noseon Asnoni Tenoshe Volingo and Moseo Ben Choice Jesus Fietaf Ernest Vinari Egon Erhmen Eona Men Shine Sotin Khenen Novi Sotiam Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eplogison, Amin, Soerois, Soerois, Mimetan, Kogi, Evoan, Vies,
O be Christus per noti. Eb oren teti herin moinan te kerin semninan te kerin jakanin novinan evol. Jesok teti gon nempi o nempi smun nempi aman shaini.